What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a Chicago Bulls and Cleveland Cavaliers game reaction. The Chicago Bulls entered this game relatively unhealthy, considering our second best player this season is out against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Did not play, but we also saw the return of one of our best defenders, and it showed in today's game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we picked up a win, a very strong win in the United Center, knowing that we have to head out west soon as well. It's a big game for the Chicago Bulls, and I'm very happy with the outcome of this game. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today. Who was your player of the game, and your overall thoughts and opinions on the Chicago Bulls, the style, the defense, everything of that nature? Just let me know in the comments below. And also, are you excited to see Alex Caruso back? Because he did play today, ladies and gentlemen, and I thought he was a really strong competitor. All the way through, the Chicago Bulls and Cleveland Cavaliers game was very much a scrappy one. I don't think this is the best in terms of offensive firepower you're going to see from either team. Obviously, Cleveland have massive amounts of injuries as well, and the Chicago Bulls had their second best player, their second best scorer out for their team as well. So Cleveland didn't have Larry Markkinen today. They obviously didn't have Jared Allen. They didn't have Caruso. They haven't had Colin Sexton in a while as well. There's a lot of guys that has been missing for Cleveland, and that's why they struggled to score today in many ways. But you got to give full credit to the Chicago Bulls defense, which again picked up in today's game and did what it was supposed to do in very, very good fashion as well. So we're going to get all into that in this video as well. I thought the Chicago Bulls did something very important today. They did what they were supposed to do at home. Again, there are certain styles of game. There are certain games in general where you simply can't complain about the Bulls playing well or the Bulls playing poorly. What's the most important thing now is that we need to start winning these games. Again, players are returning now. We've seen a little bit of what it's going to be like with Alex Caruso going forward. Hopefully, we'll get to see Zach LaVine in the next game as well. So all of these things you put together, and you just ultimately have a team that is going to get better. But in order to get better, you need to win some of these games. And I thought the Chicago Bulls did something impressive, because we were supposed to walk away with the win, in my opinion. Cleveland have lost, I think, 6 out of their last 9 games, or whatever it is, or stuff of that nature. They've only had 3 wins in their recent games. They've been struggling with their injuries. So as much as it's a close competitive matchup, as much as I thought Cleveland was never going to be an easy game, and I still agree to this point, Cleveland's not an easy team to verse. We were expected to walk away with the win, because even though we've had injuries all season, in my opinion, we are healthier at this point in time than the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we had to take advantage of that in this game. We did some very good things, but there were some negatives to take away. Of course, it's not a perfect performance. I thought the turnovers in the first half, especially in the first quarter, was really, really poor from the Chicago Bulls. Both teams were just turnover driven in today's game, and that first half was a bit of a boring one to watch, let's say, outside of obviously that loud ovation for Alex Caruso and him turning up to play a really important game, a big game for himself as well. But the turnovers were a bit of a big problem for both teams, and luckily Cleveland turned the ball over just as much as us. Otherwise, this game could have went a completely different direction. So I thought the turnovers definitely big issue all season, most of the season. I wouldn't say all season long. That's something that needs to improve. Obviously, the efficiency of our shooting was really, really poor today. Again, you're not going to see many players with outstanding efficiency in terms of their scoring. We very much used we capitalized, let's say, on not having Jared Allen in the lineup. Again, Vucevic, I thought, had a bigger game. Evan Mobley is a very good center, and he's going to be a very good center for a long time to come. He played a great game today, Evan Mobley, but Vucevic does have the weight advantage on him, and he used that weight advantage to good effect in most of these instances in today's game. He also made some threes, which was good as well. So we made sure we capitalized on the mismatches, and just all the way through, a really strong defensive display from the Chicago Bulls. Defense wins games. Again, we didn't have a great offensive game. Scoring 101 points, I don't think is great for any team really. But when you hold teams under 100, and when you hold teams to 90, that's a big indication of your defense working very well for you, and the Chicago Bulls should be very happy with that. Our defense was the key in today's game, and that has to be the key going forward. As much as we can outscore teams, hopefully in the next game we go back to scoring to 120, 130 points. Hopefully that ball movement gets a little bit increased and we get more assist numbers, stuff of that nature. I'd love to see the Bulls go back to that. But when those nights happen where you're struggling from the field, where efficiency is not the key, where both teams are struggling to score, defense will end up being the reason why we win. And that is a big reason. And I'm very happy for the Chicago Bulls in this game. With that being said, let's look at the individual performances. We're going to start off with DeMar DeRozan, who had 25 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal in today's game. 34% from the field. So again, he took 26 shots. To be fair, in this type of game, I can understand the shot selection and DeMar DeRozan trying to capitalize and just, I guess, go a little bit overboard in terms of scoring because Zach LaVine's not here. But again, I'd love to see the shot selection divided a little bit more when Zach LaVine is here, because I thought Vucevic and DeMar ended up having decent games in my opinion, but both of their efficiencies were very lackluster in today's game. So it's just one of those games. It's not really anything else you could say. It's one of those games where we're struggling from the field. I think everybody outside of 1 or 2 individuals had poor scoring nights, had poor efficiency nights, and it's the same with DeMar DeRozan's. I like the idea that he got 6 assists. I think that's very important for the Chicago Bulls, having your best player trying to play make for other guys. Very, very important stat line there. And again, it's one of those DeMar DeRozan performances where even where he's not at his best, he's still finding ways to score. He's still finding ways to impact the game. 7 free throw attempts, and he made all 7 of them in today's game. All I can say, it's a fantastic game for DeMar DeRozan. Definitely not his best. He could definitely have a level to go up in the efficiency range. But again, you got to give respect to Cleveland's defense here. As much as we can praise our own defense, Cleveland played some very good defense of their own. And it's again a really tough and gritty matchup between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Chicago Bulls, and I expect games like this to go forward next time we verse Cleveland. If we verse them in a playoff series, I expect these gritty type of games, and it's definitely not going to be an easy game every time we verse them. And I think DeMar DeRozan felt the brunt of that in today's game. They got into a zone in the 4th quarter as well to kind of stop DeMar DeRozan and stop the Chicago Bulls. They have many good ways of scoring. They can go bigger at times, they can go smaller at times. They're a very diverse team. I'm giving a lot of praise to Cleveland because so far this season they've definitely deserved that amount of praise. Ayo Dosunmu, speaking of praise, ladies and gentlemen, 17 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. In the end, he did have a little bit of foul trouble to compete with in today's game, but Ayo Dosunmu is probably the best player of today's game. And I'll get to that, to the player of the game. Maybe he'll get it from me, maybe he won't. But the thing about Ayo is, Darius Garland is one of those guys that simply is very hard to stop. Again, he has a very quick first step. For someone his size, he has an incredible act of finishing around the rim. He loves to take contact. He can shoot the 3 ball as well. And he had a really strong second half, Darius Garland. But the first half of that game, seeing the shooting percentages of Darius Garland, seeing him shoot 1 from 11, I believe it was, from the field, and knowing that Ayo Dosunmu is the main reason, the main culprit as to that poor shooting night from Darius Garland, a game where they need his scoring. They need him to drop those 25, 30 points on efficient shooting because they don't have much else on their scoring. A lot of their big scoring threats, a lot of their big players are out for this game. So Garland had to step up. And I thought Garland did everything in his power, but Ayo, with the great intensity on defense, slowing the best player on that team down. That's something he's been doing all season. You see it with Trae Young sometimes. Obviously not the last game we versed Trae Young, but you've seen it with a bunch of guys. You're not going to stop them. You're not going to stop their shooting. You're not going to stop them from making an impact on the game, but you slow them down. You make sure that they have to work for every single little bit of stats that they get. And Ayo did a fantastic job on that, and it showed in, I guess, Darius Garland's shooting percentages in this game. So a really positive game, in my opinion, from Ayo Dosunmu. I thought he's truly outstanding today defensively and offensively. Adding 17 points is a really good sight for Ayo. Kobe White had 9 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Speaking of Ayo, before we get into Kobe White, 70% efficiency. Definitely by far probably the best efficiency night for Ayo Dosunmu compared to everybody else. And it speaks with Kobe White shooting percentages as well. 4 from 11 from the field, 1 from 4 from the 3-point line, 36%. But all in all, I really thought Kobe White had a much better game. Again, we talked about his defense in the last game. I thought that was a non-issue in today's game. I thought he was really outstanding on the defensive end, put in a lot of work, got into a lot of good areas, made sure that a lot of Cleveland guys were very uncomfortable. And then you add upon his 7 assists in this game. That's a great game from Coby White. Again, he's one of those guys where scoring is what he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to come out there and he's supposed to shoot lights out from the field. That's the best version of Coby White. But sometimes, unfortunately, you're meant to play different roles. You're meant to have different ideas in a game. And Coby White had to do some things a little bit differently today. I thought his rebounding was exceptional for a guard. And getting 7 assists is really fantastic. And a lot of those assists were very much well-earned, great passes to really good open players. So he didn't luck into any of those assists, let's just say. He had a really great game, in my opinion, spreading the floor, making sure he's finding open teammates, doing the right things. Very, very good game from Coby White, in my opinion, on the defensive end, playmaking-wise. But again, when he is moved back to the bench, when Zach LaVine returns, we're going to see a little bit more of an off-ball version of Coby White, which means we are going to have to find ways to get him going offensively and for him to start getting that efficiency up. When Coby White is scoring, we are a very dangerous team, especially when everybody else is playing well. So it's a good game from Coby White, a good game in a different role once again, and we'll see what happens when he does return to the bench. Nikola Vucevic had 20 points, 14 rebounds, no assists, which is very surprising. 2 steals, 1 block. Again, not great efficiency from Vucevic, but definitely far from his worst. He had 47% from the field today, took 19 shots, made 9 of them, had 2 3-pointers, which is a luxury, 40% from the 3-point line. It's a very good stat line for Vucevic from 3. And I thought we really did well and taking advantage of not having Jared Allen in the lineup. And again, Moblay's a fantastic center, and if you look at his stats, you could see why. He's going to be an all-star one day, in my opinion. That's how impressive he's been for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But Vucevic did have the weight advantage. I'm not sure if he has the height advantage, but again, when you have someone that is recently, he's a teenager, maybe 20 years old, I'm not really sure how old Evan Mobley is. Yeah, Vucevic, a well-known veteran, has been through these multiple seasons in the NBA, has put on a lot of that muscle on him, and just being able to bully ball into his way into the paint. That's very vital for the Chicago Bulls' success, in my opinion. I've said this countless times. Vucevic's success in the paint will lead to the Chicago Bulls' success. 2 3-pointers today. It's a luxury to see Vucevic shoot and make 2 threes. It's a luxury, but it's not the main way for him to be scoring. So out of the 19 shots, he took 5 3-pointers, made 2 of them. I think that's a very good night for Vucevic in terms of good shot selection and just being able to make himself a nuisance in the paint. And we needed those 20 points for Vucevic with Zach LaVine not being in the lineup. Javonte Green, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block. His biggest thing today was, his efficiency wasn't great. 3 from 7 from the field. I thought there were a couple more of those 3-point shots that he could have taken today that he decided to cut and maybe take an unnecessary shot, a shot that wasn't the best shot selection. And he made 2 from 2 from the 3-point line today. He's going to get more of those shots, and we need to see him make more of those shots. So if he's open, I'd really like him to take it every single time. But at the end of the day, Javonte Green defensively was fine. 8 rebounds is a fantastic rebounding night for Javonte Green, and we need to see more of that if we're going to keep on getting more or out-rebounding some of these other teams. We are one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA. Vucevic has a great rebounder himself, but he alone cannot be the guy to keep on getting rebounds. We need to see it diversified around all of our team, and I thought we did a much better job rebounding today. Coby White had 7 rebounds, Vucevic with 14, DeRozan ended up contributing with 4, Ayo with 2, and Javonte Green with 8, and it keeps on going down the line as well. Moving into the bench, ladies and gentlemen, finally we get to have a good conversation about our bench. Mr. Alex Caruso, Mr. Defense himself, returns in this game against Cleveland, and I said from the very beginning, I don't think we're going to see a slow start from Alex Caruso, because even if he's not scoring, which he scored today, he makes an impact in every other aspect you could possibly think of. And that is the perfect game for Alex Caruso to prove that point. He had 29 minutes today, a little bit of a minutes restriction for Alex Caruso, but I'm sure those minutes will continue to increase, because the crucialness of his game will be very much well aware of when we go into the West, and we're going to need that defense. He had 11 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 1 block. He's back at it again with those multiple steals, off-ball steals, on-ball steals, a nuisance to every single guard that he's facing. A really fantastic return for Alex Caruso. Again, I'm really happy to see him. I didn't expect him to play in this game, but Alex Caruso is a very tough guy, and he continues to impress every single time he's on the floor. Last time we had a team held under 90 points, Alex Caruso was in the lineup against the Milwaukee Bucks, and all of a sudden, the next time that we do it, it's Alex Caruso's return game. I'm not saying that we could have done it without Alex Caruso or with Alex Caruso. That's not the point. The fact is he was here and the Bulls did it again. We held the team under 100 points, and it was fantastic to see when Alex Caruso is a big responsibility for that. I can't wait to see him continue to get those games under his belt and for him to continue to shine with the Chicago Bulls team. I'm really impressed with his ability to score today, but I'm really impressed with his defense. His transition as well. How many times did you see Alex Caruso has his head up, throws the ball all the way down to the other side of the court for a guy like Derrick Jones Jr., Javonte Green? Really important to get that transition game going, because that's how we play freely. And if we can do that in a playoff environment, we are a very dangerous team as well. Fair play to Alex Caruso, a great return and a great night for him. Derrick Jones Jr., 2 points and 2 rebounds. Again, poor efficiency, 1 from 3 from the field, didn't have too many shots. But Derrick Jones Jr., I know he could do better than this. It's one of those games. He's a very inconsistent guy, Derrick Jones Jr. So you're going to have great games from him from sometimes, and other times you're going to see a little bit of a lackluster game. He only played 15 minutes. He did look like he got a little bit winded in this game. Hopefully, there's nothing too serious about that. Again, no more injuries for the Chicago Bulls. Fingers crossed that we can walk away relatively unscathed from these types of games. Tristan Thompson, 5 points, 6 rebounds. These are the type of games for Tristan Thompson that makes me very impressed and very happy that we signed him. The rebounding, again, getting 6 to 10 rebounds off of the bench for a center is a really great number to have. And then you add onto that 5 points, playing a little bit of bully ball, got a little bit of a nice game against his old team, let's say. Good post hook or good bully ball against Kevin Love as well. Just a nice game overall from Tristan Thompson, and that's exactly what he's here to do, to play hard, to grab rebounds, and just to make sure that his presence is felt when he's on the court. He's going to be very important come playoff time as well. Troy Brown had 2 rebounds. I think he only took 1 shot. Not too much to say about Troy Brown. The must improve. Reality is, we could talk a lot about this must improve in my opinion, because I feel like a lot of guys would probably be put in this conversation. I am going to pick Derrick Jones Jr. just because I think in terms of bench scoring, we know he's capable enough to score more than 2 points. And again, it was just a poor efficiency night. I think everybody could be put in this category for the most part for efficiency. I thought we could definitely do much better in that area. But at the end of the day, you can't really complain with a win at the end of the day. We won a game. We won a very important game, a must-win game for many people, and I don't really have too much to say in relation to anything else. My player of the game is actually going to be Ayo Dosunmu. I know this might be a controversial one, considering that DeMar DeRozan had a 25-6 night, Vucevic had 20 and 14. You can even pull Kobe White with a close to a triple-double performance, but the whole point of this game is defense. Let's be honest, that's how we won this game. Defense wins games. Ayo Dosunmu's defense with Darius Garland in the first half put us in such a contention to win this game, potentially blow out the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's very hard to ignore, and he's a big responsibility for that. He played 36 minutes, and he did a fantastic job in all those minutes. Foul trouble in the end did hurt Ayo Dosunmu, but let's be honest, throughout the course of the game, he was the big key difference in my opinion as to why we won the game. That hard work to stop Darius Garland was really shown in this game, and that's why he's my player of the game. The Bulls record is 41 and 26. It's a very good day for the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, we beat Cleveland, which makes them harder to come at us as potential overtaking us. It makes it very difficult for them to do that. Then you got teams like, I believe the Bucks lost today, Miami lost today, Philly lost to the Brooklyn Nets recently. So it's a very good time for the Chicago Bulls to pick up these kinds of wins. We versed Detroit, a must-win game, and we won. Cleveland, a game where they're not very healthy. We have to take advantage, and we've done that. And obviously, we've got to rest Zach LaVine a game as well, so hopefully he'll be ready to play. And we have to keep it going, ladies and gentlemen. We have to keep on finding these wins whenever they come to us. Our next game is a winnable game against the Sacramento Kings. We've versed them once already this season, and we know what they bring to the table now. Sacramento, they have a lot of different players, but I still feel like we are the favorites to win this game against Sacramento. And considering the week that we have out west, we got the Jazz after that and Phoenix. This is the game that we have to win, ladies and gentlemen. This is the game we're supposed to win, and we have to find ways to win these games. The most important thing about the Bulls season all season is that we beat the teams that we're supposed to. If we end up losing to the Kings, then all of a sudden it finds it much harder to beat the Jazz, much harder to beat the Phoenix Suns. And if we do find a way to beat one of those teams, the Sacramento Kings is still a wasted opportunity if we don't find a way to win. It's not going to be an easy game. None of these games are going to be easy, but it's a game that I feel very confident we can go into and hopefully pick up a win from. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.